My audio is probably
You don't
coming
need
through.
audio.
Yeah, I know you would really enjoy that, wouldn't you? Yeah. So while we're waiting to make sure we've got all the audio stuff worked out here, if you guys if you're not hearing us or anything like that, let us know here. In the meanwhile, I want to remind everyone: go to hankstrange.com, sign up for our email list. That's the thing to do if you want to support us. We're also on Patreon. You could buy T-shirts here. Let me go full screen on this right here. These are from Ballistic Ink. This is the Laser Blaster shirt, and you can get a bunch of other shirts like Gun Nerds shirts, etc. You guys can find those. We've got a link on hankstrange.com, but you can go to Ballistic Ink for that. Ballistic Ink link. I don't know. It rhymes. Okay. Other than that, uh, big shout out to Harry's Holsters here for sponsoring the podcast. Let's get this kicked off here. My guests, they've been here before. We've got Jordan Stein of GOA. We've got Flying Rich. We've got Pebbles. Let's do the jazz hands, guys. Let's do the jazz hands. All right. I hope you guys have your big girl panties on. This is episode 560 of the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. All right. Welcome to the show. The show, like I said, is I don't know if I even said it. But it's brought to us by Harry's Holsters. Shout out to Harry's Holsters, maker of a fine Kydex holsters. And if you use the code HankStrange, you get 10% off at the Harry's Holsters store. So, that's a good thing to do with your Trump money, right? Get a nice Kydex holster from Harry's Holsters. Like I said before, my this is episode 560. My first guest here is Jordan of GOA, Gun Owners of America. Jordan Stein is joining us. There he goes. I don't know where he's been hiding out from us for this whole year. What's up,
It's
Jordan?
been too long. I'm very happy to be back.
Yeah. Oh, welcome back, man. So glad to have you here. Of course, we've also got Flying Rich and Pebbles.
Yep, Pebbles.
Yeah,
Yep, whoop,
Flying
whoop.
Rich and
He's almost
Pebbles is
flying.
back. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Flying
And I've been
Pebbles also.
3D printing stuff.
You've been 3D printing. Yeah, that looks like a Glock magazine right there. Very
33
nice.
round.
33 rounds. Very, very nice. Okay, so
I'm printing
Jordan's here.
freedom.
That's right, printing freedom. There you go. Lola says here's I'm gonna let Lola get the first comment. She says, Jordan, look at that beard. Good to see. Yeah, Jordan's looking extra. And when everyone else right now in the lockdown,
Hmm.
is not getting around to their barber or whatever, this seems to be working for you, Jordan.
Hey, well, I appreciate that. And my beard this is probably the longest I've had my beard, but I like it this way.
Yeah, it's
And
good.
I don't think anyone can tell me otherwise.
No,
So,
no, it's looking good. It's looking good. How's married life treating you?
married life is the best wife. I have a lovely bride. We just celebrated 1 year
Hmm.
a couple months ago in March,
Awesome.
and
Congratulations.
couldn't have been better.
Yeah, March is a good time to get married. That's when Lola and I got married. March, that's always, I don't know if there's a thing about March weddings or whatever. I don't know. When can we, I know this is a little personal, when can we expect babies? Little Steins? Yeah.
We'll have to see about
I'm
that.
probably sounding like your parents or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, don't rush. Enjoy, enjoy this. We're still in the honeymoon period, right? In a
Little
year.
Steins to take to the range.
Huh? Yeah, yeah, it'd be nice, right? Some kids to use as an excuse to buy more guns.
Absolutely. They need one as well. So,
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. All right, so listen, I know you were in the Virginia area. I'm not sure exactly where you're at right now. I don't know, you might not want to give us exact details on that, but since you're coming in here for the first time, you want to tell us how this whole COVID-19 thing is affecting you as well as the GOA. How's everyone doing over there?
so, GOA has been busier than ever with the COVID thing. Personally, in my area, we're good. There's not a lot of cases. We're being careful and washing our hands, but it's not a huge deal around us. But with GOA, we've found that this virus has exposed a lot of petty tyrants around the country that are trying to grab power
Mm-hmm.
and take away our rights
Mm-hmm.
during a pandemic. And I don't know of a time when you need your rights more than a pandemic. Uh,
Absolutely. Absolutely,
so
yeah. Good
that's
point.
just kind of been our approach, and we've been busy with either suing people or threatening to sue people who have stepped out of line and tried to grab too much power. That's what we've been doing here. So it's been a very very busy 2 months.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around. Let me give a quick shout out to John Crump, also of the
Crumpy!
GOA. Shout out to Crump. I'm not sure why Crump just wasn't in here, but at least he's joining us in the chat. So shout out to him. He says, "Jordan and Rich, what did I walk into?" Yeah, yeah, that's
Trouble.
yeah, trouble exactly. Okay, yeah. So there's lots of tyranny going on. Lots of tyranny going on right now all over the country. Are you guys like really geared up to deal with this in all its different facets across the country right now, or do you guys need more support? How's that whole thing going in terms of being able to fund this?
As much as we can, we are in the trenches fighting for the right to keep and bear arms. I mean, we have lawsuits going in Massachusetts where they have shut down gun stores. We have other lawsuits going on in Michigan and Alabama where the ATF has uh, forced people to undergo a NICS check who otherwise were exempt because they had a permit.
Mm-hmm.
We're suing Northam over his shutdown of indoor gun ranges.
Mm-hmm.
The list really goes on and on about where we have stood up to fight. But the sad thing about it is lawsuits aren't cheap,
Yeah.
and you got to keep the lights on. So any support we can have would be critical to keeping the fight alive.
Yeah, absolutely. I encourage people out there, if you haven't already, to go support the GOA. I think that Lola probably has a link in the description here. But, I know right now we really do need these guys out there fighting. Okay, so kind of, I'll let you take over and give us, I don't know if Rich has any questions here, but I would like to
I got one question.
What's up? What?
All right, Richard Monder. I know he would rather have a GOA patch, but he's asking about a membership card. Can't he just print one?
You get a membership card when you join.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he join? Yeah, I think Rich Monder joined.
No, he's in England.
He's in England. Oh, so can he not join? Can he join? Can he not?
They might have confiscated the card.
Probably, yeah.
I'll have to check on that. I'm unsure about international memberships, but I have to check that.
Yeah, we have to check on that, or maybe when he's here or something like that. The next time he's here, he can somehow get it. But you can,
Yeah.
if you know that you're a member in good standing of GOA, you can make your own card, right? No, well, no, Jordan, don't say anything. Yeah, I don't want you to be legally obliged to anything that I just said. Yeah, we'll get it figured out, huh?
Is there an official GOA tattoo? Because Richard will get that.
Oh no.
You, Richard? Yeah, I think you should get our logo. Yeah, I think use our logo, and if tattoos are your thing, yeah, go for it.
Really? Okay. You really want to start it? Wait? Yeah, he does have tattoos, so yeah, we could.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got
Maybe like the Harry Reid quote that's worse than bad on, because he taught us that we were worse than bad on the Senate floor. Harry Reid did, and that's kind of one of my favorite slogans around the office. So.
Yeah.
Who's worse and who's bad? Are you worse?
Yeah, I'm the worst one. But Harry Reid said the NRA is bad, but GOA is worse than bad.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
I tell you,
that you should be proud of that.
We are very proud. It is a badge of honor that we wear. And Harry Reid might as well have wrote us a big check because that's caused a lot of people to join.
Yeah, there you go. So,
jackass. I know a lot of good people that have confronted him, and he said very rude things to them.
Oh, okay. Harry Reid.
Yes.
I believe it. John Crump says he will fly the card over if Richard Monder pays for the flight. Come on, Crump.
It's dedication right there.
Yeah. Monder.
Huh?
He just wants to hang out with Richard Monder. But
right.
Crump is the one with the nice, movie room. He's got the entertainment room going on.
Oh, really? I didn't know about this.
Yeah, he's got the nice.
Yeah, I've never been invited over to the movie room. But let's get this let's get this out of Jordan right now. Let's get this out of Jordan right now. What updates can you bring us? Like, what's currently going on out there? What do what are the big fights the folks should be looking out for? Maybe doing some letter writing, contacting their representatives, etc. I know you guys have this kind of stuff on the site, but not everyone knows this. So
I think there was a lag in the feed, but one of our fights that we're pushing right now is the Army Corps of Engineers has put out a request for public comments for carry on their lands. You might remember about 2009, GOA was able to attach an amendment to a credit card bill that would allow for carry in parks. And Obama actually signed that legislation, and so that now you can carry in a national park. Well, Obama, who was kind of licking his wounds, kind of kept the lands managed by the Army Corps of Engineers, campgrounds and lakes and places like that. He kept them gun free. But finally now, 10 years later, they're reconsidering that, and that they have a public comment. So GOA, just like we did with bump stocks, we have a form that you can go to our website and fill out and send that forward to try to get this change. And we're optimistic that this is going to happen. And I think if you live near one of these campgrounds or lakes, or if that's part of your lifestyle, I think it could be a big change, because then you can carry legally without having to jump through their hoops to go for it. So I think that's a good initiative we're pushing right now.
Okay, what do you guys think about what's been happening with the Supreme Court? I know the New York State thing, they kind of like passed on that, and then I think we saw that there were a couple of cases that got reset. I don't know if you should be paying attention to that, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, anytime they kind of punted on a case like that, or declaring it mute and not getting a decision, isn't, it's not the best outcome. But, I think that in my personal opinion, there's better cases for the Supreme Court to take up. Things that could actually make it more of a difference, like a positive ruling on a so-called assault weapon ban, or something along those lines. So in the short term, it wasn't perhaps the greatest, but I think long term, if they will actually accept a good case, I think that's better. And the other thing is that GOA's whole legal approach, and our sister organization, Gun Owners Foundation, their approach to the courts and everything is simply the Second Amendment. Shall not be infringed. And so when we have a lawsuit, or we sue, or we challenge something in the courts, our approach is the Constitution and the Second Amendment and the Bill of Rights. It's not trying to attack one small aspect of something. It is simply that, and I think that's important. With our New York case, the brief we had in the New York case, we tried to challenge this notion of balancing test, where a judge would go, sure, you have a right to keep and bear arms, but we need to balance that with a public safety notion, because guns make you more dangerous, right? So then they allow for gun control because of a balancing act. Well, our brief said no, throw that out. You judge by the Second Amendment and the text of the Second Amendment only. And if they would judge by that in the Constitution, I think you would see a lot of these gun controls be struck down.
I'm sorry, the what? What'd you say? The what?
The Constitution. I don't know if anyone in New York is really well versed in that, and on top of that, everything in New York is dangerous. There's a lot more dangerous things in New York.
It is difficult to try to respect the Constitution in New York, but maybe they should dust it off and give it a read. Might do some good.
Yeah, and mostly. So myself and Rich, we're New Yorkers originally.
Refugees.
Yeah, refugees. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not all of New York that's like that. And even in New York City,
Yeah.
there are people who are pro-Constitution, pro-America, Second Amendment, etc. But New York City's kind of like just destroying everything else in the entire state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first off, the five boroughs of Manhattan and then like one borough around. New York City is five counties. And then there's Nassau and Suffolk, and you got Yonkers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Everything above that is upstate.
Mm-hmm.
So 90% of New York is upstate, which I think is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But you get, less than 50% of the population live outside of those seven or eight counties downstate.
Mm-hmm.
So they always get outvoted, even though they're, as redneck, trailer park living, whatever, as anybody else that has a gun. Their vote doesn't count.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're good old boys, and they want to shoot, they want to hunt, they want to fish, they want to whatever, and it's 8 counties of New York that are taking it away from them, just kind of like Virginia.
Northern Virginia is exactly like that. I mean, Fairfax County is what, 1 million residents, and that just dwarfs the rest of the state.
Right.
And I think that was a major factor in the elections, and now elections have consequences, and there's a lot of things we have to sue now in Virginia about. So it's difficult for sure.
Yeah.
So what do you think, like if you stick a finger in the wind in Virginia, do you think these state politicians, these state reps, the governor are going to get reelected?
Well, the governor is term limited, so he can't be reelected. But that House of Delegates is up for reelection, and I hope gun owners turn out and send a lot of them packing. Folks who voted for one handgun a month and red flags and universal background checks, among the other gun controls. I think they need to get to the polls, because not a lot of these Democrats who won campaigned on this exact gun control.
Right.
So it was deceptive.
What I'm figuring is we got a fired up base, and that or when I say we, Virginia or gun rights advocates have a fired up base, and they're going to get out and vote. They're going to remember the sting. They're not forgetting.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity to get people awake. I mean, maybe you need like kind of a Trident approach there in Virginia. Resistance, vote for sure, and then overthrow those damn laws. Right?
Yeah.
At least. I mean, there's probably a couple of other things people would throw in there. But that's what's needed in Virginia. The people of Virginia need to pay attention to this and realize that during this epidemic, these guys decided to force all these things down your throat.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw how people reacted to it, and it doesn't matter to them. So let me go on to a couple of things here. John Crump gave us $2. He says, shout out for Matthew and Nikki. Shout out to Matthew and Nikki out there. Hope you Crump childrens are behaving yourselves. I'm going to say probably no, but shout out to them anyway. Brian Quick says, wait, I thought Hank was from Madagascar. Motorboater says Hank is from Tasmania. No. But those are all exotic sounding, so I'm not going to complain about it. With the New York thing, because I know right now we're bouncing between New York and Virginia, right? So when the Supreme Court decided to not take up the New York thing, and then they said that was because New York pulled their case, I know you guys were ready for this. What did you? I mean, I don't know if you were ready for the Supreme Court not taking it, but I mean, what went through you guys' minds when that happened over there?
I was pretty upset, to be honest. I was, outraged. Like, finally, it's been 8 years since the last case was decided, and I was upset. But I think one of the issues with the case was that they challenged such a small, minute part of the law. The fact that you couldn't travel to a second home or gun range out of the city. That's the only thing that they challenged, which left the door open for the New York City to just change that minor part of their law, and then it's mute, and we've wasted millions of dollars and years of legal back and forth on that. So that's where that approach.
So that kind of like flushed all of that activist money on our side down the drain, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell, Supreme Court?
Yeah, but that's not an approach that like Gun Owners Foundation would take. GOF and GOA, we take a more of a shall not be infringed approach to say, well, you shouldn't have to have your gun registered or licensed or all of these other big hoops you have to go through, and not make it easy for an anti-gun city just to tweak their laws and have the whole case thrown out.
Yeah. So what about what's the standing in New York with people driving through? So let's say, someone's either maybe going somewhere and they have to go through New York in order to get there, right?
Well, theoretically, under the law, you should be covered under the Firearms Owners Protection Act. Like, say, if you were driving from New Hampshire to Pennsylvania with an AR-15 and starting around with an AR-15, you should be covered under the Firearms Owners Protection Act. But we've at GOA have heard reports to the contrary, and New York not really respecting federal law in that case. So it's difficult.
Yeah, I've heard 2 personal cases from someone. So the last time I was in New York when my mom passed, someone was telling me a story about these guys from Georgia. I guess there was a guy from Georgia who they were doing they were in the jewelry business, and they came up to New York, and one of them had a license and everything, brought the gun up there. It was in a hotel, and he left the gun in the hotel in the safe, and I guess the maid came in. I don't think the safe was locked, but or she unlocked it. I don't know. But the maid saw that in the safe, and this guy got arrested. He's gonna do time for that. And then there's another case that I know the person personally who was driving an Uber in Connecticut, legally had a firearm on him, but he picked up a fare that went to New York. And after he dropped off that fare, he got pulled over and arrested, and that firearm seized from him. So there's lots of cases of that going on, right?
Yeah. Well, there was that case in New Jersey. This woman, young mother,
Janine Allen.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Thankfully, she got pardoned, and now she's one of our greatest friends. She's done briefings for us on Capitol Hill, educating congressmen about, constitutional carry reciprocity and a lot of legislation. But it's a shame. And, to folks in, pro-gun states, you need to be active now so your state doesn't become that. And trust me, I can understand if you live in New York or New Jersey, it's difficult to try to be a gun owner there. And GOA is doing everything we can to do that. But where you have more freedoms, you need to, fight to keep it that way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. And it sucks that New York is doing that, getting away with it. And the Supreme Court is kind of like taking their side. What do you think about the reset things? I know I kind of asked you about this before, but are there any really good cases in there that we should be on the lookout for?
I haven't had a rundown of all the cases, but I do think it would be good to, and each case varies to some extent about what exactly they're challenging. But it would be great to have a positive ruling on, so-called assault weapons and say, hey, you can't ban a gun just because it's, has a collapsible stock or a flash hider or whatever. I mean, I think that would make some great progress.
Yeah.
In a lot of states, or with carry. Many of those cases were challenging may issue carry permits, and if we could get that shut down, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I would love it if they removed the requirement to get a permit completely, like constitutional carry. The way the founders intended it. So.
Yeah. Do you think that there's any way of getting the Virginia case expedited to these guys? Or?
Which Virginia case?
So far as what's going on, I know there's people pushing back on what Northam did in Virginia, right? Or is that going to take too long to get up to the Supreme Court?
So I know that GOA and I believe VCDL we are either planning to or have filed lawsuits challenging several
So you guys,
aspects.
there's multiple things you guys are going after there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And some things are just hard to challenge legally.
Okay.
Like a red flag law. We hate red flag laws, right? And sometimes people say, well, you need to challenge it in court. Well, it's kind of hard to find someone who has standing by a red flag law. Do you want someone like Gary Willis that is dead, or someone who's like mentally defective? That doesn't really make a great case in court.
Yeah.
So we're still mulling over a lot of those options. But the one handgun a month and the universal background checks I know are definitely on the docket list to challenge. Whether it goes to the Supreme Court or not, that's way down the road. But hopefully it doesn't need to go there. I mean, it could be struck down at the Virginia level.
Yeah. So are you guys thinking, Rich, feel free to jump in after I get this one in. Are you guys thinking of starting a Canada chapter anytime soon? Like gun owners of Canada. GAC, we could call it GAC.
Yeah.
I mean, because Canadians, man, they're in big trouble right now.
Yeah. And you know what really struck me about that is their legislative body, their Congress or whatever, had no input on this. It was one guy who just snapped his fingers and said, hey, these so-called assault weapons, which are already highly regulated, by the way, lots of gun control on them already, we're just going to ban them. You got 2 years to turn them in or get rid of them. That just shocked me right there. And I makes me grateful I still live in America, but it's frustrating.
Canadians don't have the Second Amendment, and that's why people say, like, why is it necessary to put that in there? Well, this is freaking why right there. Right?
Yeah.
This is why. By the way, I missed this. The Shooting Gallery Annie gave us $5 here. He says thanks for all the help that the GOA is doing for Massachusetts. So you can get that out there. Are you guys creating different GOAs in different places? I know there was some talk of that with what's going on.
We have a state director approach where we find someone who's really involved in a state at the level, like a Rachel Malone or a John Crump, and then we kind of bring them on board to be our person on the ground in the state, and we've really expanded that program. We have several across the country, but then we have my colleague Matthew who handles our state and local affairs. So if it's not handled by a state director, it's handled by Matthew. So but we're all trying to bring on new state directors, and if anyone's interested, reach out to me, and we'll see if we can get you hooked up.
Yeah, I know there was some talk of so Eric was thinking about this of IV 8888, right? Those guys were thinking about looking into that. I think that Mac of Military Arms channel was thinking of looking into that in Indiana. Those guys, I guess, were looking into it in Georgia. So I don't. Obviously, some of this might not be for public consumption, but I thought at least people did know about that.
And a lot of times we do partner with the great state group, like VCDL. Or North Carolina, grassroots North Carolina. Sometimes, and obviously we have a Virginia director, but sometimes that state group is very friendly with us. I know the Tennessee Firearms Association, they're great, and several others. We just have a great working relationship, and so we're able to amplify those efforts by tag teaming with them.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, Rich. You got something there?
I had something I forgot. See, that's what happens when you get old.
Yeah. Okay. What about? Let's talk about the California ammo sales thing. That was a debacle. Those guys didn't even get 24 hours. Are you guys on that one? What's going on there? I know there's a GOA in California. That was kind of like the
So I know Gunners of California is doing everything that they can. I as I understand it, a lot of the California groups work very closely together, and I believe that the role kind of GOF took on or GOC took on was kind of taking the horror stories, so to speak, from different abuses of this, and using that and giving that to the attorneys to litigate it. But look, GOA does everything we can in the courts, but our main thrust is legislative, because it's a lot easier to stop something from being law than to challenge it in the courts. And also, we don't fully. This is why we don't fully rely on the courts, because you can't lobby a judge. Judges oftentimes have a lifetime appointment. They're not elected or accountable to the people, so you can't vote them out in many cases. So
these judges are more dangerous than the politicians a lot of times, man. Yeah. And people just don't pay attention to that. When people are voting and stuff like that, they are not paying attention to judges who they're either voting for, because obviously on county levels and stuff like that, you vote for these guys, or the ones that are being appointed by governors that they voted for, or presidents that they voted for that matter. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you guys think, because what would be the way to solve what's happening in California, man? Is it solvable? Do we actually need to, kick California out of the union? What?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I'm sure that there's several answers to that. But what I would like to see is if say money were no object for California, and I'm sure Sam Paredes could give a much better answer on this than I could.
Right. Yeah, we should. But, we need to get him on. Whenever he comes on, YouTube shuts that video down. By the way, it's crazy.
It's because he's so smart and articulate.
Okay.
But I would love to see, just a real challenge from all of the anti-gunners in there, from a strong constitutional minded candidate that has a good campaign.
Yeah.
A lot of times, we get candidates and they say the right things, but they don't have any type of ground game or voter outreach. And if they could have a good effort, I'd like to see where that could go. And then also, I was, talking with Sam on this earlier, mail-in voting. That can be very dangerous. Sam was telling me they had 3 or 4 solid red districts that were, being called for the pro-gun candidate until they found in all these other mail-in ballots, and then it's Democrat. The Democrat won, even though the district is really red and conservative.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely stacking the odds in other favors.
The Democrats say there's no such thing as voter fraud, and we've never had a problem here in Palm Beach. I don't understand what you're
Palm
talking
Beach is just probably just as bad as California.
My wife was supervising the votes, as a member of the Tea Party. They threw her out when she asked a question. I forgot the Palm Beach County lady's name, but they threw her out of the, observing role.
Yeah, Palm Beach is terrible, man. You know what? It's like you probably do really need a good governor to get in there that everyone could back. I know, you had Schwarzenegger in there before in the Republican Party. He was terrible. How do you find a governor who can actually win the election in California? How do we do that?
Well, first of all, I think you need to have someone who's grounded in the Constitution and in their beliefs. For me personally, when I look at someone to vote for, I look at, what does this person believe? What is their voting record? And are they a strong, constitutionally minded person? And I understand that can be more difficult in a state in California where the Constitution isn't considered so much. But generally, that's how I kind of look at it.
Give us some ideas. So, Rich, you got any ideas of who in California is a real, a conservative, believes in the Constitution, believes in the Second Amendment?
What's his name? Who's the congressman you always see on TV in front of tractors on Fox News? What's his name? Nunes.
Okay.
Nunes. Nunes has a 50% liberty score, meaning he's voting with the communists 50% of the time. So the guy that we think is fantastic from California sucks half the time.
Wow. Yeah, that's not good.
California has a problem.
Yeah. If you're gonna suck, I think like more than 5% suckery is not good.
Maybe
that should be a limit. Yeah, maybe he should. I mean, it seems like the YouTube guys who are in California, they know him, man. Every time he's on, even if we don't put Sam's name in there, they somehow find that video. It's amazing. $1 here. He says, "Good to see Jordan again. How are you and the wife?"
Yep.
Which I know we asked, but you can
Good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, you can chime in there. Yeah, so California. If there's anyone out there in the chat right now from California, let us know. Smash the thumbs ups while you're out there as well. Let's see who's from California. Tell us who you think would be a great person in California for us to support, to get into office.
You could call it Southern New York, South New York, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then you have upstate New York, where my sister lives. Mm-hmm. And, she's commenting, she's watching right now. Mm-hmm. She's saying, hey, everybody has guns, carries up here. We're all 2A people. We're conservative 2A people. Mm-hmm. They really need to be a separate state because they're not getting heard. Their rights are not getting protected or represented.
Yeah. Shout out to your sister, by the way. Thanks for watching and supporting.
And the other thing, when you said Supreme Court, I was getting all excited that there was Ruth Bader Ginsburg news. I mean, do we have proof of life?
Bless her. All I can say for Ruth Bader Ginsburg is bless her heart.
If I said, you remember there was an Abe Vigoda website that checked if Abe Vigoda was alive? You never saw that?
No. Abe Vigoda? There was a website. Okay, I know who you're talking about, but I mean, that's a long time ago.
From Pitch.
Yeah.
Jordan, you know that.
Yeah, well, I never heard of that website. That must be an old website.
It's AbeVigoda.com, and it used to tell you whether he was alive or dead. Now it shows him as dead. I mean, do we need a RuthGinsburg.com?
No. She just needs to retire, but it will never happen.
Bracelet that transmits out to the internet that she still has a pulse and body temperature.
Yeah. It will never happen. It will never happen. Hopefully we get more. But I don't know. I don't know if getting people on the Supreme. I believe in it, right? And I believe in trying to get conservatives on the Supreme Court. But it doesn't seem like when we get those guys on the Supreme Court that they do anything for us. They buckle to pressure, to public pressure, right?
And again, that's why we don't fully rely on the courts. Yeah. We don't put our faith in the courts, and that's reflective on GOA's strategies. So.
Yeah. By the way, Lola threw up a thing here. GOA membership is $20. Lola put it up here. It's gunowners.org/strange. That's right. Lola put the thing up there. You guys can find that there. Let's see if we got some answers. Chris Bullis says, "Can we sell California back to Mexico?" I don't know if they would want it.
I say we declare war on Mexico, like on Monday, and then on Tuesday
surrender California
and give them California.
No, just the part that's the problem. Like you said, it's not the entirety of California. There's just parts of it. Let's see here. Richard Mondo says he already joined as a life member. So
you definitely need to send him a GOA.
Jordan. All right. Let's work on something. And get Richard Monder something special. He's in England. He's a life member. We got to,
Well, lucky for you, my lovely wife is our membership services director. So I might have the hookup to take care of.
Yeah, pays to know people.
If I can get his information. Yeah. Somehow, I'll need that, but I'll see what I can do.
Yeah,
I'll call it a favor.
Yeah, we'll get it to you. We'll get some kind of special thing over in England there. Let's see. Maybe we can even get him to kick off a GOA in England. You never know.
Yeah, GOE?
Yeah, GOE.
Yeah.
Go. Okay, let's see. Fun Crusher says, I like Travis Allen for governor here in California. Travis Allen. Yeah, Travis Allen. Do you guys know who that is in California? Okay, I would have to look him up. Okay. We need to figure out a way to like identify who would be good people, and then just somehow figure out how to like get those guys promoted, in terms of on social media and things like that. And get people to do whatever they can to at least try to get these guys up.
I think GOC puts out a candidate guide. So if we could get that to y'all, maybe that could be a way of, I believe they grade candidates or make recommendations or for good
Yeah.
folks. So
Yeah. We will, I mean, so I'm going to try to get Sam to come back on. If you guys
yeah.
are looking for those episodes, typically you're going to find them over on Gunstreamer because YouTube just like buries them over here. But it's always good when he comes on. Maybe we can figure out a way to get him back on here and we'll dig into
Yeah.
this and we'll try to get, maybe some other California people. We really should try because ultimately here, man, California is a beautiful place and the people are really suffering because of all these things that are happening there. And it's actually not going to get better. Forget about this COVID-19 thing. California was, especially LA, man, was already about to fall into an apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, homeless encampments don't get COVID. There's no way you can transmit COVID homeless person to homeless person, right?
yeah, yeah. So
Well, just look who's in charge. I mean, they've had, anti-gunners Democrats have
So
had control of that for decades,
what is wrong with Kimberly Guilfoyle? Or what went right with her?
Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Kimberly Guilfoyle was married to Gavin Newsom.
Right. I know. Isn't she? She's like hanging out with Trump Jr. right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's what's up, man. We lost her to manspreading with Trump Jr. So you know what I'm saying? She's doing Fox. she's got Trump Jr. That keeps you pretty busy.
No, she dropped Fox for Trump.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, she works in the Trump administration?
No, she's just hanging out with Don Jr.
Is she on the campaign, maybe?
Yeah,
I think she's doing something with them.
Yeah,
but.
yeah. Listen, all of us, if we were hanging out with Don Jr., we wouldn't be doing anything, right? Just hanging out with Don Jr. I guess. So,
I was gonna say I do that when I hang out with you, Hank, but you always put me to work.
yeah, man, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. It's called big pimping. All right, let's see. Fun Crusher said Travis Allen got beat by John Cox, who lost to Newsom. Okay. All right. Yeah. We got to figure out how to do it because California it's really really getting bad all the time. So, and so let's see here. What were the other things? I know the Michigan stuff. For you guys, anything going on with GOA in Michigan?
We're suing in Michigan. So the ATF originally in several states, if you have a carry permit, you don't have to go through a NICS check to buy a gun. And in Michigan, the ATF has issued what they call a public service announcement. It's saying that oh no! Even if you have a permit, you still have to undergo the NICS check to buy a gun, which we find that's a violation of federal law. And
that's a violation on top of a violation already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're saying we can't do that, and we're suing them. Just yesterday, we announced a similar lawsuit in Alabama. So if the ATF continues to do this, we're going to continue to sue them because they're breaking their own laws. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, you are talking about the ATF here, so.
Yeah, they should just go away.
We are talking about the ATF. I think I forgot to bring this up when we were talking about the Supreme Court, but I thought this was an interesting article. Supreme embarrassment, the flush heard around the country. Basically, what this article is talking about is, the Supreme Court is meeting from their teleconferencing. And apparently while they were teleconferencing in, someone was doing what all guys do when they're on the phone, sitting on the throne. Someone. This is so funny. I mean, what do you expect?
What was the movie, The Naked Gun, where they did that?
Was it The Naked Gun? I don't know. But
it was a Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, this is the throne in the modern age has now become the place where you do all your social media. Where you do all your posting, you take your calls and stuff like that. But I guess it's kind of symbolic, right? The Supreme Court also doing it. Yeah. Flushing America down the drain. I don't know if you guys saw that. I thought that was interesting.
I missed that one. So, Jordan, I got a question for you. Like legal precedent wise, if I could maybe was told I had to ride in the back of the bus, but like once a month was told I could ride in the front of the bus, that would be okay, right?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by allowing Virginia citizens to buy one gun a month, does that mean it stopped an unbelievable number of mass shootings because they could only get one? Because most mass shooters use two guns at the same time.
How that doesn't fall under shall not be infringed, I don't know.
Are done by guys dual wielding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize is with the one handgun a month law is it creates a de facto registry, because if you buy a handgun and then you a couple weeks later go to buy another one, how do they know they got the first one?
Exactly. They have to make a registry to know that.
Yeah, it makes no sense. So
how do they know that you're selling a gun to your relative or a neighbor? How do they know?
Yeah.
How are they going to know this?
Well, now it's illegal, but again, nobody knows. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, this is a circular argument, right? Because everyone knows this. But the whole thing about it is the people who they're trying to stop from doing these terrible things don't care about the laws because they're doing terrible things that are already against the law.
Yep. Yep.
So if we make abortion illegal, there'll be backroom abortions. That's why we need them legal.
That's it's a broken kind of logic that we're dealing with here. It's the same thing like talking about Canada. Obviously, we're not in Canada, but it's the same thing with Canada. How are they going to stop what happened in Nova Scotia? How are they going to stop that by stopping all Canadians from being able to defend themselves? And Canada is a wild place in a lot of places, right?
Have they even announced what firearm was used?
I don't think so. I didn't see. I know he burned down some houses, and that's how at least 9 people died. So that didn't have anything to do with the firearms.
I was thinking though, if this, from my understanding, this killer went from house to house or place to place. I wonder if one of those people had a gun or had a gun on them. If that could have nipped it in the bud right there. If there was a Jack Wilson or a Stephen Williford around who could take care of business. But they're already practically disarmed because of all of their gun control. So it's almost they're almost like sitting ducks.
Yeah. I mean, at least some people, while he's trying to burn down their houses from inside the house, could take him out. I mean, this guy had, how many hours was it? Like 13, what was it, 13 hours or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, 13 hours to run wild. And I'm pretty sure if people were armed, whether it's legally or illegally, they would have been able to defend themselves.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm going to go back to, don't resist the laws, right? And then fight all these laws out there, and then vote these people out. I don't know, Trudeau. I don't know. I don't know if there's a term limit or whatever in Canada. I'm not sure what's going on with that. But yeah, man, Canada has to stand up and demand their human rights.
Yeah.
Which it's your right to defend yourself is a human right. So.
Well, our rights don't come from the Constitution, and I've said this before.
Really?
Yeah, our rights, as our Declaration says, come from our Creator. They come from something more than just a very significant piece of paper that they wrote on. I would say our rights are God-given, and they come from God, and that's why government can't infringe them. And that goes to the root of GOA's approach.
No, it says there's an asterisk there, and it says in cases of COVID or when we feel like it.
Yeah, if it hurts your feelings, right?
Yeah.
But
that's
to make other people feel more comfortable, which is pretty much, it's a lot like the whole mask thing. That we're going through, in order to make other people feel comfortable going outdoors. If you are scared of the coronavirus, don't go anywhere. Stay in your house. By the way, in New York, there's people who stayed home getting the coronavirus anyway. You know that, right? I saw that somewhere on the news that I have to pull it up. It was Cuomo was like surprised by that. But this is the same thing. Like we're trying to make people feel better, and then other people have to, I feel uncomfortable if you disarm me. I guess is the best way to put it. It looks like we just lost. Oh, there you go. He's coming back. He's coming.
Yeah,
back
hadn't coming call.
Yeah. One of the things I was gonna say is like, and I always tell this to people, right? The PETA people out there that you got to protect the animals and all that. Which, hey, I get it, right? You got to be good to the animals, okay? Especially right before you eat them.
Season them just right.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So we have dogs and cats and different kinds of pets, right? So if your pet was going to be out there in the world, would you declaw them? What would you guys do? Like your pet...
he needs his claws.
Huh?
He needs his claws.
Yes, you would say that your pets need their claws, right?
Yep.
So and lots of these same people would think you are being incredibly cruel and savage to declaw your pets so they can't defend themselves out there. But us as human beings, we should be declawed.
Mm-hmm.
We should not be able to defend.
Have you ever been to a gun show?
Go ahead. Ask that.
Like 200 people at a gun show, and big smelly guys, and they all say.
Are you asking Jordan? Are you asking Jordan that? Yeah. Okay.
What's the? I couldn't hear you. What's the question?
No, it's like the whole quote: "An armed society is a polite society."
Mm-hmm.
You know how many fistfights happen at gun shows and knifings and all that bit. I bump into like this big biker guy, and he's like, "Oh, excuse me, sorry." Politest people you ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we need to exercise our rights too. I think sometimes people are sensitive about people carrying guns or unsure about it because not enough people do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I find it interesting in my daily conversations. I run into somebody and they're like, "Yeah, I got a carry permit." "Oh, what you carrying?" Like, "Oh, I don't carry." Like, it makes no sense to me. Why would you go through the whole process of begging the government for permission to carry a right, and then you don't even carry a gun? It boggles my mind.
That bothers me when I come across Republicans, conservatives who tell me, "Oh yeah, I'm totally for Second Amendment, man." I'm like, "Great. What kind of guns do you have?" "I don't really have any guns." "Why?" "Oh, because I don't have any place to shoot." Come on, And I hear that all the time, and I think, yeah, okay, if you're not, which look, you're not obligated to arm yourself or defend yourself. I get it. But I think, I agree with you. If you're not a person out there practicing it, I don't know if I want you representing me. Just because you say that you believe in something. This is why all these guys have like flaked out on us, and they don't really, defend the Second Amendment or the Constitution for that matter.
Do you know who my congressman is? My congressman is Brian Mast. Do you know who that guy is?
I'm sorry.
Brian would come by our Tea Party meetings every month, and he'd be the nicest, kindest guy. He'd be nicer than you or Hank,
Nobody's nicer than me. Nobody's nicer. And definitely no one's nicer than Jordan, by the way. Jordan's so nice. He's always on here. He's never been,
I mean, it's probably not on this phone, but my previous phone, I have the text message that, I'm texting with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Hey, Brian, where are you on the Second Amendment? Blah, blah, blah." And for all of you who don't know Brian Mast was an EOD tech. He lost both his legs and one finger. I think he's Harvard educated, smart guy, personable, nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm texting him.
You always have to look out for those guys from Harvard, man, though. I guess I'm just going to say. But go ahead.
Oh, I'm a big Second Amendment guy. I blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "Let's go to the range together. I'll talk to you about it." I'm like, "No, I don't have to go to the range with you. I have to go to the range with Hank or somebody, but I don't have to go to the range with you."
Mm-hmm.
And, then he comes up with this cock and bull story. The true story of the matter is he's got a hoplophobic, wealthy Republican donor. And that's the truth of the matter. But he tells me, like, "Well, I was having a picnic with my family."
What does I'm going to have to look up what hoplophobic means. Hold on.
Afraid of weapons.
Oh, okay. Oh, I should know that one. I'm going to store that in my brain. Hoplophobic. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Hoplophobic.
So Brian comes up with this cock and bull story. If he looked at me right out, he's like, look, I got to get reelected. I got this donor that doesn't like guns, so I'm going after semi-automatics. And that's the truth. I'd be like, all right, at least he told me the truth. He says, well, I was at the park with my family, and I thought if somebody had an AR-15 on that rooftop, they could take us all out. I'm like, you jackass, my most Nagant, I could take you out from like 2 cities away and through a brick building.
Yeah, by the way, I'm throwing that up there right now. That's the word for the day. Hoplophobia is a political neologism coined by retired American military officer Jeff Cooper as a pejorative to describe an irrational aversion to weapons. It is also used to describe fear of firearms. There you go. Okay, cool. There you go. Awesome. I mean, listen, I've heard that word before, but I didn't know it, so good. Go ahead. Sorry. I know I'm interrupting here, but I'm trying to educate the people.
It's just infuriating. And I don't know, Jordan, do you know the people from Freedom Works? Jordan, do you hear us? Or is he thinking?
Yeah, Jordan. Oh, wait a second. Jordan, can you hear us? I don't know.
Yeah, I cut out for a second, but I'm back now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Freedom Works?
What about Freedom Works?
They're in D.C. I went to an event with them once, and they told me.
I think it's Richard. I think it's Richard. Can you see? It's Richard's internet that's messing it all up. There you go.
It's mine.
Yeah, it must be. That's why you dropped out.
Somebody's calling me again.
Yeah.
So at Freedom Works, they tell us as the Congress people get off the bus and they have a reception for them, they show them a menu. And they say, do you want to be on this committee? Do you want to be chairman of this committee? And there's a dollar amount next to each one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the new congressperson says, well, I don't have that money. Where do I get that? And they say, in the other room where all the lobbyists are. Go over there, talk to one of the lobbyists. Come back, tell us what seat you want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They call it a swamp for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're crooked before they even get sworn in. They're already crooked.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty.
And I don't mean to be too much of a jerk about this, but Hank, you're asking who in California is good. You know what? Anybody listening to this podcast, whether you're in California, New York, Florida, you should be running for public office. Whether it's school board, whether it's frickin' dog catcher, mayor, supervisor, run for frickin' office because you have more common sense.
Yeah, don't leave it up to other people. That's what the problem is. That's why we get these professional politicians destroying America.
It's about time we have more statesmen than career politicians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let me just go back to this really quick here. That thing I said about Cuomo, let me see if I can roll this in for you guys. Daily News, shocking, 66% of new coronavirus patients in New York stayed home. This is from Cuomo. Okay, Albany, the majority of recently hospitalized coronavirus patients in New York are people who have followed the precaution of staying home, Governor Cuomo said Wednesday. The governor said it was shocking that 66% of new coronavirus hospitalizations are people who either retired or unemployed and not commuting to work on a regular basis. The statistic comes from a preliminary survey of 113 hospitals done over 3 days that included 1,269 responses as the state seeks more information about how COVID-19 spreads. So, I mean, you could dig into it, but I'm just saying, why did we do all this craziness? Maybe all of this got blown up so they could start layering new laws on top of us. And then we'll just go, oh, it's got to be for our own good, right? For the greater good, for the greater good.
Hey, Jonathan, have you read the book Sons of Anarchy? I think it's Sons of Anarchy.
Jordan.
No, I haven't read that book.
Yeah, you said Jonathan. He doesn't respond to Jonathan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's like, who the hell is he talking to?
My wife's reading the book, or is it Sons of the Revolution? It's about the founders. And if you pulled this crap, they burned your frickin' house down.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I'm not saying we should be doing that, but I want open carry in Florida, sometimes so I could carry a full-size firearm. But you know what? So when I go to march at Tallahassee, they see me with an AR-15 on my back, and they're like, huh, maybe these 100, 200, 300 guys out front, we probably shouldn't piss off.
Mm-hmm. I'm cutting in and out a little bit, but what's interesting to me is the same folks who are shutting down gun stores and stopping issuing carry permits and everything are the same people who are releasing dangerous criminals back out on the street. Yeah. So at the same time where you can't buy a gun to defend yourself, which ridiculous. You probably should have had one all along. Yeah. We're putting bad guys back on the street, and we've shared some articles of where these people who've been released have been attacking people, and causing all sorts of harm. Yeah. And it just blows my mind.
No, and this is why since the beginning of this year, 7 million guns. Okay, at least Nick's checks, because that could be double. Sometimes you do that check, it could be 2 guns, right? Or unless you're in Virginia or something now, then I guess it can't be.
Right. It could be a slingshot and a firearm.
Yeah, but by the way, whoever that's weird. That's a weird thing that you just froze. That was a weird freezing on Jordan there just now.
Oh,
so yeah, when you look back at this, you'll see it. Let me see. It's around the 1 hour and 1 minute mark. Yeah. By the way, Richard Hughes, whoever's calling you, you need to text them and tell them to stop calling you, unless it's your wife. Don't mess with her.
I don't know the number.
Oh, okay. That you never know who that could be, man. You never know.
It's somebody in Florida.
Yeah, you never know who that is. That could be the ATF. It could be anyone trying to get through to you. Yeah.
So I had a boating accident.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, that's not valid. That's not valid anymore. Okay, so let's see here. Let's go to, did you guys have some other things you wanted to get to here? I want to get to some ridiculous news. Can we do that?
Sure. Florida man news?
Can we? Yeah, not necessarily Florida man, but here's one that I did want to cover. This is from BuzzFeed. A 5-year-old boy was pulled over while trying to drive to California to buy a Lamborghini. So
5-year-old.
Good for him.
Yeah, a 5-year-old boy in Utah, of course, was pulled over Monday while trying to drive to California to buy a Lamborghini. About 12 p.m., a highway patrol trooper was trying to catch up to a speeder on the southbound Interstate 15 in Ogden when he came across what he initially thought was an impaired driver or someone experiencing a medical emergency. Oh, so this actually helped out a guy who was speeding on the highway. Okay.
Did he bring his girlfriend with him?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so he was traveling at 32 miles per hour in a 70 mile per hour zone. There's a curve in the road, and he was kind of having a hard time making the curve. This is what the officer said here. The trooper initiated a traffic stop, and when he approached the vehicle, he found a small boy on the verge of tears, sitting on the edge of the seat with both feet in the brake pedal. After the trooper helped him put the car in gear and turned off the engine, the boy told him he was 5 years old and he had left home to drive to California because he wanted to buy a Lamborghini. He might have been short on the purchase amount as he only had $3 in his wallet. The Utah Highway Patrol tweeted. So, luckily for him,
maybe that's just the down payment.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So is this going to be on Life of Palos or DDE?
Probably. I don't know. This kid is no joke.
Right.
Well, right. I think you got to beg the question of where's the kid's parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
like
exactly.
How do you let your kid out and take your car somewhere?
In Utah.
Maybe the parents were high and they wanted the Lambo and they told him to go get it.
No, I think his parents weren't. So here's another article that I could throw up here. I don't know. In this article, there's this weird creature on his face. I don't know if that's what the police do in Utah to you. No, actually. But if you look at this, if you look at the picture here, there's like this weird, instead of just blacking out the face because he's a minor, there's this weird looking thing on it. But from what I heard is that the parents were at work and it was supposed to be like an older brother or sister watching this kid. And apparently, they were busy playing Gears of War or something. I don't know. And, he slipped out. And listen, you know what? Good for him. He's into cars because a lot of kids, these days, they don't really care about cars. And he could drive. I mean, he survived. To get on the highway, You know, I mean, I remember when I first started driving, I took all the local roads, man. I wasn't even trying to get on the highway. So yeah, this kid's he's pretty good, man. You know, that's some crazy news. That's some crazy news. Here, let's do another one just for the fun of it. Just for the fun of it. I don't think you guys heard about this one. I'm gonna throw it up here. Tom Cruise, SpaceX, and NASA developing an action film shot in space. Yes, that's right. Actor Tom Cruise, Elon Musk, SpaceX, and NASA are in the early stages of developing a feature-length action-adventure film set and shot in outer space, according to Deadline, making sure to clarify the film would not be a Mission Impossible sequel. Deadline reports the project is not attached to a studio at this early stage.
Is it funded by the Chinese?
I don't know. What do you guys think about this? I'm down.
Can I be a cameraman?
Huh?
I want to be a cameraman.
Yeah. You know, I think that's cool, right? The first film. Well, we've shot film in space, but not like a, you know, not
Moonraker. Moonraker was shot in space.
Sure. The moon landing, that was a film shot in space.
Yeah. I always get kind of creeped out when I watch space movies, you know, because you're just like floating through the air and you can't grab onto anything. That just messes with my mind somehow.
Yeah. It seems cool at one point, you know, but also very, very dangerous. You know, incredibly dangerous. Sounds like the kind of thing that Tom Cruise would get wrapped up in.
Well, I gotta say, craft services is gonna be a bitch in space.
Oh yeah. Tang.
Just
right?
Tang.
Wasn't Tang invented for space?
Yes. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, there you go. Isn't that all you need? Gives you all your nutrients?
Are you saying that like apostrophe TANG or capital TA?
I don't know what that means. Richard. I'm not even getting wrapped up in that. Let's move on from that. Okay? If anyone knows what Richard means by that, let us know. And then I don't know if you guys saw this, but I thought this was interesting. Did you see the story about the Green Berets that, or the special ops guys that were trying to invade Venezuela?
No. I saw some rumors about that, but not much.
Was that like not an officially sanctioned thing, and that was because he's got a bounty on his head and they were going to bring him back for the bounty? And was Trey involved in that or not?
I don't know. This is interesting. I know the American government is not claiming, like the Trump administration, saying they had nothing to do with this, but Venezuela did capture some people. It says former Green Beret takes responsibility for failed boat raid aimed at overthrowing Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. A former Green Beret has taken responsibility for what he claimed was a failed attack Sunday aimed at overthrowing Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, and that the socialist government said ended with 8 dead. And they captured some Americans over there. Jordan Gaudreau's comments in an interview with an exiled Venezuelan journalist capped a bizarre day that started with reports of a pre-dawn amphibious raid near South American country's heavily guarded capital. So yeah, these guys really did try to do a military coup in Venezuela. That's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. And now they're captured, so now America has to figure out how to get them back.
How to get them back, yeah.
Yeah, I think they, I don't think they were really that well trained, or they definitely weren't armed well enough, So that news is probably going to keep growing here. Let's see. I'm going to hit us with some other news. What's up, Rich?
Hey, I'm busy. Can you call me back in an hour?
No, Rich, you're busy doing the podcast.
What 2 tickets I got?
This is us on the podcast, Rich.
You hear me?
Yeah, you need to call me back in an hour.
Hang up on your friend. Be professional. We have Jordan here. You're embarrassing me.
Sorry, man. I don't know how this crap works.
Text that guy and tell that guy to stop calling you. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna put Lola. You need to handle Richard Hughes right now.
No, no, not the Lola.
Okay, let me go to another one closer to home here. This is about Florida anti-gun commissioner Nikki Fried's self-pitying email blast. Florida's agricultural commissioner Nikki Fried. This is what happens when you don't vote, people. We got a Democrat as the agricultural commissioner here in Florida because the gun guys didn't go out and vote, and the agricultural commissioner is in charge of giving out the CCWs. She put out a recent email blast after coming under fire for her anti-gun unlawful restrictions on concealed carry licenses in Florida. The NRA had the full scoop below. Dictionary.com says whiner is a noun and lists some words related to whiners: wimp, complainers, sorehead, crybaby. So here goes the thing here. She says this is. She puts out this thing. I don't know. She put it out with a legal seal here too, which is interesting. Friend, a gun rights group is threatening to sue me. The NRA is attacking me again, and so is Florida's Attorney General. In a blatant political move, Attorney General Moody implied in a letter that I've halted the processing of concealed weapons licenses. That's straight up not true. She goes on. I mean, this is what happens when you don't vote, like we're talking about. Yep. This is what happens here. And she's using our money here in Florida for her own political reasons. What do you guys think about this?
I think Florida needs constitutional carry. Mm-hmm. That's the simple solution to this. Mm-hmm. You know, we just need to get rid of these permits and having to beg the government for permission to exercise a right.
Yeah.
So,
and then putting politicians like this where they can get in the way and throw a monkey wrench in everything and make it difficult for people. I mean, you know, yes, we could be mad at her, but I'm more mad at the people here in Florida that didn't go vote.
Yeah. Right.
You know.
Well, it was kind of a fishy election that she actually won because it was pretty close. It could have been the bad ballots in Broward or Palm Beach that pushed her over the line.
Yeah, maybe. But I think if people went out there and voted, this could have been pretty decisive. You know, and I think
Hank, I mean, as a Florida resident, the Republicans are stabbing us in the back just as hard. It's not helping.
I think that's true, man. I think that's why there's so much apathy, and it's tough. People feel like it's tough to know who's really on your side, right? That's why, like the GOA, Jordan, you guys were grading people. You guys are still doing that, right?
Yes, absolutely. And that's what we have primaries, to where, if there's a really bad guy in an election, you can't get him in the general, you got to get him in the primary and get support there. Mm-hmm. So, and most people don't vote in the primaries, and that's how we keep getting these rhinos and the anti-gunners.
Yeah, I know people right here in Florida, some gun guys, I'm not going to mention any names, who don't vote in the primaries. So ridiculous, and the last time someone told me that, I was chastising them, like, what are you talking about? You don't vote in the primaries, It just doesn't make sense. You've got to vote all the time. Get out there and vote, and then hold these people responsible. I think, like Rich was saying earlier, other people need to step up here instead of the professional politicians and vote. And then we have to figure out.
Oh yeah.
I think
run for office.
Yeah, but I think one of the big problems, and I'm not really sure how this is going to get solved, is media, right? So when people are running for office, if they don't get coverage in the media, it makes it very difficult for them to get anywhere. And of course, the mainstream media is not going to cover elections run by people like us.
Then you look at alternative media like YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, and they're going to hose you just the same.
Yeah, it's tough to do, but we could do something about it. We have to figure out a way that, like, let's say GOA identifies these people, then we all get out there and go, this, we should do our own research. I'm not saying just take what GOA says, But, these guys are doing research, right? They're out there on the front lines. They say, hey, we think this person is good. We take a look at that person. And then maybe folks like myself try to get those people on air to talk to you. Then maybe you guys share those things, go follow those people, help them out so that they can get out there. Otherwise, they get seduced by the mainstream media. And that's a lot of what we're seeing from the, those corrupted Republicans that are out there, I think.
Yeah.
It's up to us. We really need to get up on top of it and start paying attention to what's going on. And that's how we have the whole Nikki Fried problem that we have going on here. Here's another one. I'm going to throw this up here as well. After giving up hunting, Prince Harry has now sold his 2 handmade Purdy guns.
No, say it ain't so.
Yeah, Prince Harry.
What a shame.
Yeah. Prince Harry's American wife made him swear off hunting. No, first, that chick made him give up. Like, I don't believe in royalty. Let me just say this right now. I do not believe in royalty, at all. But the first thing she did was make him give up his status, whatever royal status he had. Go ahead.
I'm very grateful that my wife will not stop me from hunting or buying guns. She's not the issue. So, I guess not all men are that lucky. But you would think if you have an American wife, maybe there's some hope, but not with her. So
no, not if you have an American. Not if you So let's say, Jordan, that you are a prince. I don't know. Let's say of England, and then some chick comes along and separates you from your whole family. Next thing you know, you're moving to Canada, but Canada's not enough. Then you're moving to Hollywood, and then you're moving right into a neighborhood so the paparazzi are in a good spot to take pictures of you. That might be a warning sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
That might be a warning sign that you're in trouble. So, of course, your guns are going to get sold next. I don't know. Did you ever hear the story of, who was it? Sean Penn. That Charlize Theron made him, he had a bunch of guns, Sean Penn, right? Mm-hmm. He was into guns. He had a really nice gun collection. And they were engaged. They were getting married. And, she told him, if you love me, you would destroy these guns. And he was like, okay, I'll sell the guns. She said no. She didn't want them sold. At least Prince Harry here got to sell his guns. They didn't destroy them. She didn't want them sold. He had to destroy them. So he gave them to this artist who melted it down and made it into some kind of crazy cockamamie piece of art. And then guess what? She dumped him anyway.
Ah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Don't fall for this trap. This is a warning.
Well, look, when I was dating Megan, the first thing I told her is look, I like guns. We met in college, and I had a club and everything, and she knew I was involved with my gun rights club, and she knew from the very first date that I was a big Second Amendment guy, and thankfully she's a big Second Amendment gal.
Good.
So we're in total agreement on those issues, and yeah, guys, don't give up your guns for a girl.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely.
Get a girl who likes guns as much as you do.
Yeah, you got a good Megan. He got a bad Megan. You got a good one. You got a good one. That's good. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to Rich here. I don't know what happened to him. I guess that person won the phone call battle.
I guess he's on the other call.
Yeah.
So
I guess. We'll see if we get him back here. Are there any other things while I'm flipping through here? Some other things that we're missing out on that we need to cover? Let me see.
Yeah, well, one big victory we did have, I believe it was in late March, is originally when Trump issued his guidance of what essential businesses are, he didn't include gun stores,
right,
or the firearms industry. And so GOA and GOC appealed to him and said, hey, you need to include the firearms industry in this, and he did. They revised their guidance, and now the firearms industry. And while that guidance doesn't have any exact bearing, it's still important because states adopted the federal government's guidance.
Mm-hmm.
So now those states that have that guidance have to follow the gun stores. So states like New Jersey, an anti-gun state, their gun stores are open, at least to some extent, because of that ruling.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a pretty big victory that we advocated for.
I think so.
With that. And it had those ripple effects.
Yeah.
So.
I would say so, man. I don't know if people think that's a small thing, but I don't think it is. I think that the firearms industry being shut down during this time, when there's a high demand for what the industry manufactures, would have been devastating. I think ultimately here, this COVID-19 thing is going to kick in like a super recession. We're really not seeing it yet, but a lot of businesses are going to be adversely affected by everything that's happening here. And at least that gave an opportunity to the firearms industry to keep functioning, keep people employed, manufacturing things, manufacturing freedom actually, and getting more folks who maybe didn't before feel like they needed freedom to get involved with freedom.
And it's sad. It's taken a pandemic to have a lot of people realize that, hey, they need a gun.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish they had one before and were already prepared. But hey, at least now that they've realized it, if they've got a gun, great.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard reports that some transfers have been delayed up to 30 days because of the NICS backlog. And that's another thing that we've done. We sent another letter to Trump and working with the folks we know at the White House to try to clear up those delays.
Mm-hmm.
And so people can get their guns. I took a phone call last week from a guy who was waiting weeks on the transfers.
Right.
And it's when we put government restrictions on our rights, prior restraints, government pre-clearance, whatever you want to call it. That this is the consequences of it now. And at GOA, we've always opposed NICS and background checks. We've always opposed permits and concealed carry permits. And this is one of the reasons why. Because when there's big demand for guns or people are rushing to buy it, these gun controls are going to get in the way and good people are going to be disarmed. And even if it's 30 days that your gun's delayed, well, a right delayed is a right denied.
Yeah.
And we just can't accept those infringements.
Yeah, absolutely. So why is there a problem with the NICS check? Is it that those guys weren't coming into work, so people aren't there running the shop, or?
So the way I understand it is, if you say you get the yellow on the NICS check, the gun store can still give you the gun after 3 business days. I believe the FBI or ATF or whoever has 3 business days to look into it. If not, after those days, you can get the gun. Well, the ATF has said don't give them the gun and holding the gun up. So that's why the transfers haven't gone through.
Right. Now, is that because
that's my understanding of it.
Right. Is that because they're not in the office?
That could be, or that could be because they just don't want people having guns, which wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the government goes out there and scares the living crap out of everyone and says that the world's coming to an end, the sky's falling down. Then they're surprised that everyone says, okay, well, then I'm going to have to defend myself, obviously. And they go out there, and then they're like, oh, well, we can't get these background checks done.
Yeah.
That's kind of ridiculous.
Or the people in like California who and we've talked about California a lot, but they have a waiting period. So they show up to buy a gun, like, I can't take it home today. I got to wait 10 days.
Yeah.
Or whatever the waiting period is. And the gun control that I'm sure many of them voted for and supported, they're feeling the consequences of. So hopefully next time they go to the polls, they'll think twice.
Yeah. Doesn't California and other states also have background checks on ammo?
Yeah, that's what the latest lawsuit was over, of having background checks to buy ammunition there. So
yeah. Let's see here. We're still waiting for. I don't know if Rich is going to be able to come back here. We will find out. We'll find out what happens. So, okay, all this time that you've been sequestered at home, or are you just working from home now? I don't know. Is it? Go ahead.
I've been working from home before the whole coronavirus
before working from home was cool, right?
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah. So, in all this time, have you had a chance to catch any movies?
yeah, I watched this Extraction the other day.
Oh, okay, awesome. That's what I wanted to talk about, actually.
Yeah.
Here's this firearms blog article. It says firearms and gun handling of Extraction with Chris Helmsworth. Have you ever thought about what got you interested in guns in the first place? For me, growing up in a small apartment in a big city with no access. This article, let me see who posted this article here. Just want to make sure I get by Vladimir Anokoy. I'm going to say that's his name. Hopefully, I know I butchered it. But growing up in a small apartment in a big city with no access to guns and hunting, it was definitely action movies. But when I watch most action movies from the 80s and 90s right now, I can't help but cringe. Never-ending magazines, goofy shooting techniques, people flying in the air after getting shot. All the good stuff. That is why I like watching movies that take firearms and gun handling seriously. The most recent example being Extraction from Netflix. So what did you... I thought it was a really good movie. I saw it. I thought it was really good. I thought the firearms handling in there was excellent. What did you think about this?
I thought it was a good movie. I really enjoyed. It's probably midway through the movie where it was just one take, and I think the main character was fighting with a guy, and they're jumping down buildings and going through the street, and cars are hitting them. It's all shot in one take, and I'm sure that's some pretty extraordinary cinematography.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed watching that, and that was pretty slick.
Yeah, the choreography of that is pretty amazing. I think that this was directed by one of the Avengers guys, one of the brothers that's managing Avengers, and I've heard that they're already working on part 2, on a second one of these. Yeah, but it was really good. I think it was a good movie. Well done.
Yeah.
Let me see. I think Lola said there's a question here. What's the one gun in each of your collections that you would not part with? So I know you don't have a big collection, but what's the one gun in there that there's no way you're giving up?
The one gun I wouldn't give up, it's got to be my Glock 19. This gun is always on me, and I'm carrying it right now, and it's always within arm's reach, and to me, it's just a gun that can do it all. I can still carry it. I open carry it. Like home defense, it does everything, and it just works for me. So
yeah, I would agree with that. Glock 19 is a pretty good gun, man. It's not a rifle, but it's a good overall gun if you had to defend yourself.
Everybody's got one. It seems it's kind of a cliche answer, but it's popular for a reason and it works. So.
Yeah. And if you look at Extraction, he uses handguns a lot. Close quarters,
Absolutely.
I think it was a pretty good thing. I would agree with that. I've got a few Glocks, and I'm not selling. I don't sell Glocks, man. I think I might have sold a couple that are not. So all the 9mm ones, I don't get rid of. But if it's some other caliber that we bought it so we could do videos, and then I'm like, okay, I don't necessarily need it. But if it's a 9mm one, not getting rid of it. I've got multiples. Like, I think I have several Glock 19s and Glock 17s and things like that. But let me see. So other than that, I would say, so first of all, I'm really partial to bullpups.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I don't sell my bullpups. And I know I have a bullpup AK-74 545.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and people always try to buy it from me. And yeah, I'm not parting with that. Not giving that one up at all. So I would have to say that. You guys can let us know out there in the chat. What do you think? Do you have some rifles yet, or?
Yeah, I got a couple ARs. I have an AR rifle and I have an AR pistol. I've been I want to get into coyote hunting, hunting
Okay.
coyotes and everything. So I kind of got my rifle kind of geared towards coyote hunting. I'm hoping soon I can get into that. Maybe might have to wait till this fall now.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of farmers hate coyotes because
Yep.
they get into everything
Mm-hmm.
and they're kind of a nuisance. So
Mm-hmm.
sounds like fun. Then I got an AR pistol. It's got the pistol brace on it. It's fun and short.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy that. And then I got a CZ shotgun, over and under,
Okay.
birds and everything. So it's a pretty slick gun.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Very cool. The range says Hank likes bullpups. Who knew? Yep. 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 John Voorhees says, "How much for one of your Styrogs?" I only have one, and I'm definitely not selling it. So that's what I gotta
not
say.
for sale.
Yeah. And Armin and Axis wants to know if I saw the movie 12 Strong with Chris Helmsworth. No, I didn't. I don't think I saw that. Did you see
I
that?
saw that in theaters. Yeah.
Okay, how was it?
It was good. I know they rode horses in it, which was really interesting. I think it was like some of the first folks who came in after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed the movie.
Oh, okay, cool. And Sarks SVT says, I have an Smith & Wesson 35 that was my father's, I'll never give up, and a 60 that was my grandfather's. Yeah, those are family heirlooms, right? You never get rid of those. So have you gotten any family heirlooms? Are your other family members into guns?
My dad is big into guns, and he's
Mm-hmm.
kind of the one who kind of got me into it.
Mm-hmm.
We shot 22s. I remember we used to shoot with my dad Remington nylon 66s, the 22s you put into the buttstock
Mm-hmm.
and everything, and that he really got me into shooting and everything, and yeah, and hopefully he's watching right now. So
Okay. Yeah, shout out to your dad. I think it's time.
yeah.
I hope your dad lives another 100 years, but you got to pass
Yeah.
some guns on to Jordan, man. You can't.
Yeah, yeah, Dad, come on. Actually, this shotgun he just gave to me,
Oh,
so
okay, cool, cool.
yeah, he's pretty good for now. So
Yes, yes. Shout out to your dad.
yeah,
Thanks to him for bringing such a fine young man into the world to fight for the Second Amendment. We appreciate that. Um, let's see here. Brian Quick. This is from Brian Quick. He says, "I don't really have an emotional attachment to guns. I try to get the best I can afford, and if I want to try something different, then I just sell or trade." Yeah, I'm cool with that. I understand that. I understand that. And I think if you're gonna buy guns, it's always good to buy them, when the market's low, of course, like buy low, sell high kind of a thing. And when the
hmm
market is spiking and high like this, if you have a bunch of guns around that you're like, hey, there's other guns I want to get, but I don't have the money. This is a great time. Sell some guns, hold on to that money because I feel like somewhere down the line here, the market's going to go the other way. I don't know how you feel about that. I know Lola just put a thing here. She wanted to know what's your thoughts on the record gun sales and do you think it's good or not?
well, yeah, I think we've already kind of talked about this. I think people are scared and people are unsure about the virus and if there's gonna be riots and everything
Mm-hmm.
and like I said about the same people who are stopping concealed carry permits and gun sales are releasing criminals back on the street. Folks are realizing that the government can't be there to protect them because police aren't responding to all calls.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to them to protect them. So it's no wonder that people are buying gun sales in record numbers. And GOA's actually released a pistol safety video on our YouTube page and Facebook. So if
Mm-hmm.
you want to go check that out,
Oh, cool.
folks can as how to safely handle a pistol. We're working on some other ones with different styles of firearms, but
Okay.
figured, pistols are probably what a lot of people are buying right now, so it's timely
Mm-hmm.
and it's just kind of a nice evergreen video just to safely handle one. And we think, we don't believe in government mandated training, but we do
Mm-hmm.
think if you buy a gun, you should use it responsibly and how to handle it and stored and all those things. And
Yeah, you should always reinforce good habits if you can. Get training, all that
mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. I think that's important. That's for yourself, right? Uh, But the flip side, I think, of this run that we've had on guns, and it's not just lately. I don't think it's just because of COVID. I think it's been going on all year, but it's been going on probably for a few years, right? If you really think about it here, I think at some point the market's gonna kind of drop.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have a situation like we do right now, where all these new people jumped in, started buying guns, and then because the prices ran up, maybe they're buying them at higher prices. If I don't know if the politicians want things to go back to normal, but if and eventually when things do go back to normal, then I think a lot of these people who really aren't true dyed in the wool gun people will be selling these things at lower prices. There's going to be a glut of firearms, especially used ones or lightly used ones or never used ones. And that might create a different situation here for the gun market going forward.
Yeah, we might have a very great lightly used gun market here coming up. So,
Mm-hmm.
which I hope people don't sell their guns, or I hope they keep them and get training
Mm-hmm.
and use them to protect themselves. But I certainly hope people don't turn them into the police,
Yeah.
or
Oh,
try
please
to
don't.
destroy
Yeah.
them, which I've seen some people do, where they say they go out and buy a gun and they say, oh, when this crisis is over, I'm going to turn this into the police.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. I mean, if you don't want it, at least give it to someone who does.
Yeah, don't do that. There's plenty. There's first of all plenty of gun stores that you could go to, and there's plenty of legal ways that you can sell those things. Gun broker, for an example, but there's other places out there that you can go and sell them. And for anyone who doesn't know about guns, it's real easy. You go on Gun Broker, you can sign up, you sell a firearms, you send it to an FFL, Federal Firearms Licensee, in whatever state that you sell it to that person. That person goes there, does a background check, and they get it. I think that's a better way to do things than, let's say, taking it to the police or in your state. If hopefully it's still a free state and you could sell to your friends and your neighbors, people that you know that are resident of your state, then that's also another way to go. You know,
Yep.
the thing,
And all of that varies from state to state too.
yeah,
With because some states have universal background checks where like Virginia coming up soon in the next couple months.
hmm
If you wanted to just sell a gun to your hunting buddy, you have to go to the FFL and do the transfer and the background check. I mean,
hmm
that's just the unfortunate consequences of those places.
when
So
does that go into effect in Virginia?
I believe it's July 1.
July 1.
I believe
Okay.
it may have got posted or extended. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So, but it's in the coming months.
Right. Okay. The range says I don't think these people who loaded up on firearms and ammo recently will ever sell them. This was a life-changing event for folks, he says in his honest opinion. I hope so. I think that would be a good thing. What I would suggest to the people out there, let's say things start to quiet down, and then maybe some of that fear that you felt about getting firearms in the first place until things you thought went, apocalyptic, which they didn't go apocalyptic, right? The world is still
Yeah.
here, it's still spinning. Unfortunately, there's a few less people in the world, but that would have happened anyway. Here's the thing I hope you do. If you're worried about it, you can definitely lock those things up in your home. Get safes, all that kind of stuff. But go get training,
Yeah.
and then also take some time to explore your rights that you didn't use up till now. And then you'll figure out why you had to wait and go through background checks and all these kinds of different things when you went to the store. How about check up on that? And look into these things, and then think about the people in your states that made it difficult for you to defend yourself when you realize that, hey, you might be by yourself having to defend yourself. Just take some time and invest in that, and then try to stick with it. Ultimately, though, the reason why I think that we're going to see some of this is because we're going to head into a recession here. We're printing a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we shut down a lot of businesses. There's a lot of businesses that already went out of business, ones that will go out of business. We even managed to damage hospitals. You know, the healthcare system that was already in trouble. You know, we just like, I mean, we just really messed up the healthcare system in America, and I don't think people realize that yet.
Yeah.
You know, you guys are going to see there's tons of layoffs and stuff like that coming for the healthcare industry. It's already happening. It's going to continue to happen. It's going to come in phases because we literally shut all of that down. You know, and we're still slowly phasing it back in. And I think that and other things that we've seen here are going to have ripple effects. That we're just not thinking about it. We're just not seeing it now. So I'm not trying to scare everyone and make everyone worry. I would just say, like, be aware of that and think about it. You know, and then prepare for it. Just like you want to be prepared by having guns and ammo and having food and having a generator and batteries and all those kinds of things, you might want to pay attention to the fact that we're going to get some serious inflation because we are printing trillions and trillions of dollars. You know, and we're paying people to stay home and put companies out of business. So,
yeah,
you know, let's see. Yul Adams says the world is gone, Hank. The people just don't know it yet. Just learn to clean that gun for the long run. I hope that things really aren't that bad, but you know, it all depends on how much people are really paying attention to the reality of what's going on. If a lot of us are just ignorantly going through life without realizing what's happening, then ultimately, like dodos, we're just going to walk off the edge of the cliff.
Yeah. You know, if just the way I look at things is, you know, with this whole pandemic and all, I hope what people take out of it is a mindset of preparedness, you know, of maybe having some an emergency fund stored up, you know, a couple months of your paycheck, or maybe a couple months of food. You know, certainly guns are good to have, but you can't eat bullets, you know, and maybe you can hunt something, but
For
you
sure.
know, having some medical supplies or just in tools, or having a community with your neighbors, you know, and checking up on them. You know, my neighbor is an older lady, and make sure she's got everything. You know, and just looking out for each other. So I that's what I will take away, and the fact that the government's not going to be there to save you. So
hell no. Yeah. Listen, I think you gave a lot of good points there, man, and I think people, you know, the button's already been pushed. The effect is not being felt yet.
Yeah.
I think people just need to think about that. Everyone's resting. Everyone feels pretty good because they're resting. Okay, that's the calm before the storm. Okay, it's like really a simple thing. You know, we've seen these kinds of we've seen things happen like that before. We've never seen something like this, where not only here in America they shut everything down, but all around the world.
Yeah.
You know? And if you look at the world, if you look at Italy and other places, they realize we've got to open up or we're done.
Yeah.
You know, somehow America doesn't believe that in whole yet.
Yeah. We've had it really good for a long time. I mean, our country's been so blessed, and now, you know, perhaps things might change a little bit, and like I said, you gotta be prepared. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, let's see. You know what? Do you want to, in whatever time we have here, if you folks have some questions,
bring it on.
Yeah, hit us up with the questions. Yeah. You know, Jordan will take questions right now. Smash those thumbs ups.
So
yeah, I'll let you. Yeah, I'll let you know what questions come in. Smash the thumbs ups though. We appreciate that. And I'll stand by here and see what questions we get from the folks while I flip through this and see. I know we were just talking about not buying any. Did you get Trump money, Jordan? By the way,
I did.
You did? Okay. What did you do with your Trump money?
I repaired some of my cars, and I'm currently researching the best way to invest it.
Okay. All right. Good answer. Yeah, good answer. Let's see. Let's see what's here. All right, let's see what's going on here. While I'm waiting for the questions to come in here, I'm gonna throw up some other news things that I see going on here. So I think we've had the Gould brothers on before, right, Lola? Yeah. So the Gould brothers, they're in ammo land. I'm gonna shout them out here. Federal and Reed signed Gould brothers. That's cool. Federal Ammunition and Reed's Family Outdoor Outfitters partnered together to sponsor the incredible exhibition shooting duo, the Gould Brothers. The brothers have been entertaining fans for more than a decade with their one-of-a-kind trick shooting shows and fun YouTube videos. Stephen and Aaron Gould will now entertain crowds throughout the United States, flying the flags of two Minnesota mainstay outdoor companies. By the way, if you've never seen these guys and their shooting tricks and stunts, they are actually amazing. I'm not just saying, like, I've seen these guys. They're really amazing. We've had them here on the show. I can't remember what episode number it was, but definitely congratulations to those guys on that. It's it's always cool to see. It's always cool to see that kind of stuff. Let's see here. It looks like we've got a super chat from Armament and Axes. Give us a couple of bucks. He says, Trump money and the rest is in the safe. That's from Armament and Axes. There you go. And Yul Adams says he's starting hunting. Does he reload? Do you reload, Jordan?
That's another thing I want to get into. I haven't done it yet, but I would like to get into reloading, and might start off with handgun and then maybe some rifle. But one day, eventually, I think I'll get into it.
Yeah, and what kind of AR? I don't know if this is related to what you're hunting with, but what kind of AR? And what caliber? Sorry, what caliber?
Smith & Wesson 5.56.
Okay, there you go. Let's see. Let's see what other. I carry my revolver in single action. Says Hank, do you and Jordan think the Democrats purposely want to keep the economy shut down to try to hurt Trump? So I'm just gonna say, of course, that's how politics runs, especially in a two-party system. I don't think it's just, to me, I don't feel like it's just Democrats that are guilty of that. I feel like Republicans do that as well. It's just this thing that we're bouncing between these two parties, and all they're really concerned about is making us feel like we need them, and none of them are trying to serve us. I don't think Democrats are trying to serve anyone, and in a lot of cases, I feel like there's some good Republicans, some good conservatives out there, some people who believe in the Constitution, and they are trying to serve the American people. But I think there's a lot of these guys that really aren't trying to serve us, and that's the problem. I don't see any of them complaining about the liberties that have been taken away from people under this whole COVID-19 situation, or I see very few of them. There's a few, but very few. Go ahead.
I think the biggest thing that I've seen throughout this pandemic is the most non-essential job is the politician. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We might want to do some reforms, man.
Yeah.
Some serious reforms might be needed here. John Voorhees says, ask Jordan what his favorite surplus rifle and handgun is.
Surplus.
Yeah,
well,
surplus.
I like shooting a 1911 as well. I shot a Wilson Combat before. Very slick 1911. I've also shot a Browning High Point as well. That's very slick shooting, and can't miss with it either. It's just, I like my Glocks and my polymer frames, but those metal guns, there's something about those as well that I enjoy. So
yeah, those are cool. I'm not a big expert on that kind of stuff. I know like Makarovs and Takarovs and all that kind of stuff are a favorite of a lot of people out there. So and I actually have one of those things. I can't remember if I have a Makarov or a Takarov. That's the thing about it. So, but they're cool. They're definitely cool. When Walter is here, he's an expert on that. Walter will actually pocket carry something surplus. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah. Okay, let's see. The Range says he never heard of the Gould brothers. Time to Google them and watch some YouTube video. Yeah, if you look at, have you heard of the Gould brothers?
No, I haven't. I'll have to look
Oh
them
yeah,
up.
they're good, man. They are really good. If you get a chance to see them actually perform the stunts and stuff like that they do, it's, those guys are amazing. And I'm pretty sure that I have some videos out there with them. But we've also had them here on the show. But yes, they're on YouTube. If you go look them up, you will be amazed by the stuff that they do. Brick says they're all idiots. People better stop thinking one party is better than the other. Yeah, I don't think we should give a free pass to any politicians out there.
Absolutely. One of the sayings around the office that's said a lot is when politicians feel the heat, they see the light.
Yeah,
so
true.
You gotta make them see the light. So
yeah. And okay, let's see. Yule Adam says, what's this thing here? Would you carry a high point if it's done in full age metal and runs like Thor's hammer? A high point. I would carry a high point right now in plastic. That's me personally. I think high points are functional guns. Yes, they're not super good looking. Everybody's waiting for the yeet cannon to come out to be a little less ugly, let's put it that way, than your original flavor high point. But high points function and they work. And if that's what you can afford, I say get that. Whatever you can get that works consistently, that you can use to defend yourself and your family, is what you should do. And we've tested high points time and time again, and we find them to be functional. And we also found that high point stands behind the guns that they make. So whether you bought one used or new, they will take care of that gun. They will fix any problems you have with that gun. So to me, if that was my choice, if that's what I could afford, I would go in that direction. Jordan, I don't know if you're very familiar with high points, but
you were cutting in and out, but
okay.
I've never shot a high point,
okay.
but I've handled them, and yeah, they're kind of clunky, but everything I've heard is kind of exactly what I heard you say, is that they're reliable and they work a lot of the time. So
yeah, they are. They're not the best looking things in the world,
yeah.
But look, their high points working on making them better looking.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and we've had the guys from High Point here on the show. If you guys are interested, you can go back and take a look at that. I've done some videos with them from time to time, and I'm actually looking forward to the new one that's coming out. Were you gonna say something there, Jordan?
Nope.
Yeah. Atomic Bowl says, unlike 1911s, high points work. I find 1911s work too. I don't know. Wait, did Jordan freeze there? Yeah. So Atomic Bowl says, unlike 1911's, high points work. So
I guess it depends on which 1911 you had. The ones I've shot have worked.
Yeah.
So my limited experience, but
yeah.
I will say, if there's a Glock on the table and a 1911 on the table, and I gotta defend my life, I'm gonna go with the Glock.
Yeah.
But if I just wanna plink, I might pick the 1911.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, you know what I think the 1911 thing is? Some people do 1911s really well, and a few people out there don't. It's kind of hard to mess up something that's literally been around since 1911. But, as we could tell with ARs and other guns out there, you can mess up anything mechanically. I think that the less expensive 1911s that are very loosey-goosey when it comes to tolerances, they tend to work, though. Right? Mm-hmm. So they're not as expensive. They've got looser tolerances. They tend to work. Some of the ones that are more expensive and tighter tolerances, they work, but only with certain kinds of ammunition. Sometimes they have to be broken in, which I'm not a huge fan of guns that have to be broken in. And then there are a lot of high-end 1911s that work just fine. I mean, we've had no issues with them. But, some people out there might balk at spending the money for those guns, but they tend to work. So, and then like I know guys that run 1911s that you don't want to go up against in under any circumstance.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So there's some guys out there, typically some old school dudes that run 1911s and they did like 2-gun matches and all that. With
Hmm.
1911s, you don't want to face those guys, man. They can change your magazine real fast.
And I think that goes to show that it's not the gun so much as the shooter. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if someone's really skilled, it doesn't matter what they're shooting, a high point, a
Mm-hmm.
1911 Glock, you know, they're just very good at what they do
Yeah.
and put in the time and the effort
Mm-hmm.
and everything. So,
Yeah. Yeah, my friend Mike Deddy was a competitive shooter with 1911s, and I don't think you want to go up against him. Yeah,
nope.
but yes, for capacity, definitely a Glock.
Yes. Yep.
So, but you can mess up a Glock too. Lots of guys mess up Glocks by modifying them. I found.
The only thing I have changed on my 19 are the sights.
Yeah,
Everything
yeah,
else is the same.
yeah. That's
So,
cool. Yeah, yeah. And by the way, if you do a lot of modification on a Glock, it might not be covered on the Glock's warranty. I'm just saying. I've seen them not like for example, if they didn't make the gun that color, then someone else modified it, right? So if you've got a Glock that's not a color that Glock made, someone modified it. And I'm not saying
mm,
Glock won't cover it, but they will bring that up if that's a thing. So typically, I have Glocks that are modified, but the ones that I would train with and actually carry, there's not a lot except like you said, maybe sights you can do. I don't really do triggers. I know some people do triggers, and there's companies out there that make
mhm.
reasonable triggers out there. Let's see what other. By the way, shout out to Trey from Aries Training Facilities, right here in Florida. Let's see. Atomic Bull says Dan Wesson, Kimber, Springfield, Colt, Rock Island, Armory have all failed in my hands.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
Yeah, your hands might need an
You need to
exorcism.
try out a Wilson Combat. That probably won't fail.
Yeah. Anything could fail. Anything
That's
could
true.
fail. Yeah,
That's true.
anything could fail. But yes, I understand that. Some people, like Mac from Military Arms Channel, he can make any gun fail.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so,
He's got the worst stuff.
yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Trying to flip through. Armament and Axis gave us another couple of bucks here. He says, shout out to my daughter, Amber Reynolds. Okay, shout out to Amber Reynolds out there. Thanks for joining us, Amber. We appreciate you hanging out there. Let's see. And let's see who else we got here. I see Aries is in the chat here, like I said before. So, all right. So let's do this, man, because we've got a couple of minutes left here. I don't think Richard Hughes is coming back.
No, he booted us. So
Yeah, whatever that call was.
I'm sad.
That was more. That call was more important than freedom, Jordan.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, or he got into really big trouble with his wife or something because he didn't. I'm just trying to tell you something. I'm not even making this up. He probably didn't tell his wife he was doing a podcast or something like that and got into serious trouble. We'll find out about that. I'm not going to try. I don't want to embarrass him. Lola's giving me a look right now. But how about telling the folks out there what they can do to get in touch with you after this, Jordan, or how they can support the GOA in the time that we have left?
Well, thank you for having me on, Hank. And if you want to get involved with GOA, our website's just gunowners.org. You can join, $25 to join. Hank's got the discounted link for $20. I mean, that's less than a box of ammo, especially nowadays. And look, what you get with GOA is a no-nonsense, no-compromise defense of the Second Amendment. Our goal at GOA is to work ourselves out of a job. I wish one day I could do something else for a living and not have to fight for our rights that we already have. But unfortunately, that's the situation we're in, and that's our approach. That's our attitude, and we work around the clock to do that. And if you're able to, just we would be honored to have y'all as a member. So that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there's lots of different organizations out there. I would say support the ones that you can, support the GOA and other organizations. You know, everyone's fighting on a different front. Sometimes these guys are fighting on the same front. If I'm throwing bullets at something, I want lots of bullets going there, and I think GOA is doing something valuable for us. You know, they're one part of this mission that we have to reclaim the Second Amendment. So I would say support them. I really want to thank Jordan for coming in. He's been in here many times before, bringing us up to date and all that kind of stuff. I want to thank you for all the work you do as well, Jordan. You know, I know you can go off into, you know, you're a very brilliant young man. You can go off in other industries and make a lot of money. On my behalf and the other Second Amendment folks out there, thanks for fighting this fight, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing your platform with me. And I got my dream job. I love what I do. I'm, very passionate about it. And, like I said, I want to work myself out of a job, but it's not the case right now. But thank you, Hank, for this platform and everything you do as well.
You're welcome. Thanks to you guys. All right, so listen, everyone, stay right there. I'm gonna thank Harry's Holsters for sponsoring the podcast here. I want to recommend everyone go to hankstrange.com and sign up for our email list and look through the menu there. You'll find a lot of different ways to support us. Let me drop the end on everyone here. Make sure you guys subscribe, leave a comment here on the video, smash those thumbs up, ring the bell so you can be notified every time we go live. We are going to strip out the audio of this and put it up on iTunes and other places that you can listen to audio podcasts. This is like, what did I say, 560th episode.
Wow.
So, yeah, we put a lot of episodes in here, and GOA has been supporting us for a long time. We really do appreciate that. Jordan, do you have any final words here before I get out of here? All right. Everyone stay safe out there. Keep fighting for the Second Amendment. We'll see you. Peace out.